you love it?
Yeah, I do.
That's so cool. Come on over, jump on here. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I did do your pixie before. Jump on here though. So yeah, what were you just saying?
My hair's growing way too thick, and I just really want something similar to the other girl, a bit more like grind.
Yeah, because what just happened? We were finishing up our YouTube video. You walked in just to get a haircut.
Just spontaneous.
And then I said, "Did you wanna be on my YouTube movie?" And you said, "Yeah." So are we actually wanting to cut out the blonde? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Well,
entirely, or is that too short?
What would you think? Like,
well, that's what we did with her.
Yeah.
Exactly what we did was we cut out her old color.
I think so.
It wasn't too far off.
I don't think I can really keep up with blonde anymore.
No. Yeah. And we did this blonde, didn't we?
Yeah, ages ago.
A long time ago. Yeah. And did we do this color that's been put in here?
Oh no, that's me trying to do rose gold pink, and unfortunately it's kind of
yeah, as we were just saying, the rose color in there, that's something you did yourself.
Yeah.
That's our old color we gave you.
Yeah.
That's something you've done yourself. And the first time I ever cut your hair, you did a pixie, but we're not going back to pixie because when I first gave you that pixie, that's when everyone wanted a pixie.
Yeah.
Everyone wants shags now, and that sort of like, we're more 70s vibing now.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. Your pixie was stunning, but that was the age of the pixie. That was like when Anne Hathaway, after Les Miserables, and she got married with a super short pixie. And there's a few others that did pixies back then, and everyone wanted a pixie. Now nobody wants a pixie. Bobs too, like, a lot of people have been wanting bobs lately.
Okay.
But I still think bobs are like kind of like, the shags have been the biggest thing. But I'm getting a lot of requests for bobs. But every so often, bobs are like, ugh, and then it was like, everyone wants a bob. Okay. So that's another funny one too.
So you mentioned more 70s vibe.
70s vibing is still been going,
awesome.
going on for quite a while now. So what we're going to do is basically a uniform length cut.
Yeah.
Wherever that color is, boom, and whatever is remaining behind, that's what you get. But that means there's going to be some back here, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be. Also, you need a wardrobe change. Because if you're going to be on YouTube, like,
oh really?
Yeah, yeah. Now what I would do is your pants are perfect. The turtleneck's got to go. Yeah. Come over here, find something. So yeah, come on over to show the tubers. So what I was saying is I love the pants and everything. The turtleneck. It's good for what you're wearing today, but for a YouTube video, yeah, we want 70s vibing, so we're going to change to that one. So help yourself. It's like a time machine. You go in the door, you come out. It's 1978. Cool. Yeah, that's good. Leave the shoes. They're very not 1970s.
Oh, sorry.
We're not looking at shoes. We're looking from the waist up, really. Yeah.
Shoes.
No, don't worry about that. That's perfect, though.
Oh,
that's
shit.
like I would buy it. I would really get from the 70s now. Cool. So we're gonna do, we're gonna cut that color right out. Cool. That'll be fun. Yeah, you've got really thick hair.
I do. I don't know how to really maintain it.
No, I know, and it's like summertime in New Zealand now. It's been really hot and humid, and hair like this, and the dry color on the ends. Yeah, I can see why you're struggling a wee bit.
Yeah.
Once all that blonde is out, if you want to do foils down the road, let me know because you can all that. You know, you still have that credit.
Yeah, that's all good.
But for today, we can give that credit towards the color.
Awesome.
You can come with Paul, your shiny and good color. And come on over, let's wash your hair.
Awesome.
Come on over. It's a lot of fun when you're cutting out old blonde like that, because blonde clumps just go. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I enjoyed the blonde when I did have it, but I feel like now it's just it's nice to do something a bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you're not even able to comb through anymore.
No, it's just too difficult.
I'm not complaining about the blonde because we did it. It's,
the
time is done.
Yeah.
That's all.
Next phase, hey.
Next phase. And we're going to have you back for a color.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the best one. So all of that.
me so much joy and happiness when I see my hair bleach blonde for this.
Exactly. Problem is, hair takes too long to grow back. Otherwise, people would do major chops far more often because they are fun.
Yeah.
But it's always used between the big chop because it takes years to grow back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's why when you do a big chop, make sure it's a good one because it could be years until the next one.
Yeah.
If you go somewhere and it's not a good one, it's a big letdown.
Mm.
And if you go somewhere and it's the best thing you ever did, that's what life is all about.
Yeah. Well, that's what I found about coming here in this place as well. Because I think I went to a place in Napier, but I feel like they were too scared to cut my hair too short.
Yeah.
I came here and you're like, let's do it. I was like, cool.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that actually. Years ago now, but I do remember that because I'm always like, some hairdressers are like, you wanted a pixie. And so obviously went there for a pixie. They were like, "Are you sure?" Or maybe we're just doing this instead.
Yeah, they had to
give you
ask
what you
me.
wanted.
No.
Yeah.
They had to ask me twice. Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand that they possibly might have had people who have been like, "Oh, I'm not too sure."
To be honest, I don't think so.
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's more that they're just too nervous.
You mentioned before, I remember saying that they might be quite used to cutting longer.
Yeah, that's like in smaller places in New Zealand like that. They don't get a lot of short hair. It's more long hair because let's face it, we're an island on the South Pacific.
Yeah.
South Pacific Islands is long hair culture. Now, New Zealand, you will find short haircuts in like Wellington, where it's arts and funky and culture, and we got art schools and we got universities and things like that. So you will find that in a place like Wellington, but in general around New Zealand, it's long hair culture because it is an island in the South Pacific, and you'll find most islands of the South Pacific is long hair culture. Yeah, like the Hawaiian with the, it is what it is. Maori culture is long hair culture. And then when you have a group of girls who are friends, then the white girls tend to want to have long hair too because they want to just fit in, right? Conformity, right? So the white girl does the short haircut and all the Maoris are like, ugh, why did you do that? But Maori girls will do short hair too. Everyone will do short hair. Yeah. But it's, it's a cultural norm. But I've got some Maori customers who chop their hair off, crop it super short, and wow, is that ever stunning. The Polynesian islands, and this is New Zealand, so it's Maori. It's not, Polynesian people are here now. But Hawaii's Polynesian. And it's like you get a free color with this haircut too because you're cutting out the color. So it looks like you've colored your hair. Because you look at that, it's like, oh, you got to cut in the color. And you're like, no, I just cut it. I'm like, oh, but it was blonde. I'm like, yeah, it was.
Just great. Just be like me again.
Yeah. There was a news story years ago where the girl, she ran away. Okay. She ran away, I think she was from someplace like Ohio. And so what happened was she went on a school trip to Montana, a place called Jackson Hole. It's beautiful there. It's absolutely beautiful there. So when it was time for the kids to get back on the bus and go back to Ohio, they couldn't find her. She went off into the woods because she decided that Montana was so beautiful, she wanted to go back to Ohio, so she ran off into the woods. And then, so what she did was, she had long blonde hair, but it was ombre. So ombre means it's darker and then it's long. So so she was running away. So she cut it off into a bob. She did it herself, obviously.
Right.
But because she cut out the blonde. So it looked like and then the news media was like, oh, and to disguise herself, she cut and colored her hair. Right. That's what they kept saying on the media. But I was like, she didn't color her hair, she just cut it. Yeah. She just, like exactly like this, she just cut it. But of course, when the blonde's gone, you look like you have dark hair now. But we didn't color anything. No. So the news media was all like, oh yeah, no, she went to great lengths to disguise herself, she cut and color her hair. All she did was like cut it up to here, and it looked like it'd been colored because the blonde was cut out. So her dad, I remember in a press release, her dad said, everyone keeps saying she cut and colored her hair, she didn't color it, she just cut it. Because I guess he was getting angry. Because it sounds like she's going to even greater lengths. Yeah, she just cut her hair, that's all she did. And I remember the story, and I remember the dad saying that, because I knew exactly. Just media being overly.
Sensationalize
Yeah.
it. Hey.
So you're cool with having it longer in the back for a shake kind of look, or you want me to go shorter in the back? I think it's cool having it longer. I'll leave it longer for now.
Yeah.
Because the blonde underneath was a bit different, so you could have it longer in the back, which would be a very 70s vibing look.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Just with so much lighter now too. I'm like, oh
Oh,
gosh,
yeah.
yes. Ah, all that weight's going off.
Definitely. How short do you want your fringe? Long fringe? Or you want to go like...
Probably a wee bit shorter.
Yeah, we'll go show you what that is. Like, do you want to go up to about there, or you want a short fringe?
Or maybe rounding what we my eyebrows out. What do you reckon?
Let's go longer fringe, so you
Yeah.
you can part it in the middle, and it can go over. So we're going to go longer, about there, in the middle.
Nice.
And then we're going to have it so it angles out a little bit as it goes up the side. And then once you split that, because that's going to sit over your eyebrows.
I'll go.
Yeah. What else is going to happen too is now that your hair's short, your scalp's going to get more oxygen in it,
Oh, awesome.
which is going to, because all of that was preventing oxygen getting into your
Yeah.
scalp. So after this cut, I'm going to take you over and we're going to do a massive scalp massage, like the biggest scalp massage ever. And then now your short hair again, then the oxygen's going to get in there,
That's awesome.
and all of that's going to be, like by the end of the week, you're going to notice a big difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was my favourite thing of getting that pixie cut done too. Was like
True.
I can feel my head. Like
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Yeah. Short hair is good for your scalp because it gets oxygenated. It's making a noise for the camera. You can go over here. I'll have to take Riley out after this.
Oh, nice.
Where do you want to go after this, Riley? Waterfront? They closed the park on the where the Frank Kids Park. Closed the park because they're renovating.
Oh, okay.
They're redoing it all. They're keeping the old slide. They're going to renovate the old slide.
Right. Oh, okay.
But I think they're going to put in like a nice little spiral off of it, like a
Oh,
water. But the whole lighthouse thing is going to come back.
Yeah.
But they're going to do like that. Had that straight slide. That everyone drunk goes down there and does that slide.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're going to do like I think a modern type spiral thing off it, but they're
Okay.
keeping the old lighthouse.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a moulé type thing. It's more of a shag. Which you get. So you're there. Where do you want the size? Yeah, we got to take some out of there. I think what we'll do, you're going for 70, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to go boom, boom, boom. Just little move there. And then we'll just like raise the bottom of your a little bit. Into the back, join in with that nice length we left back there. That's cool. little bit more there, but I got maybe go in one more pass and try to get a little bit more of that blonde out of the ends. Also, when you do haircuts like this, it's that confident boost for your job interviewing.
For sure, yeah. For sure.
And you walk in there, I'm gonna own this.
Always makes me feel so liberated because I feel like with my long hair it grows so thick and it feels like I'm hiding behind a curtain. Yeah. Almost. Yeah. So this one's quite good.
So if you go in the center and then you bring that over to see how you get that split fringe going on. And then your sides, you can just push it back, and then you do that. That is such a 70s vibing haircut at the moment. So what we're going to do first is we're going to come over into the basin and do a massive scalp massage and treatment. You just let that come up. Use the heavy guns. Wow. And even that with the color off, wow, you've like transformed.
Yeah.
And that's like not a color, just a haircut, and it looks like you've got a color too.
Nice.
Come on up. Mostly dry.
Nice.
But I'm gonna go through it a little more with the thinning shears. It's pretty awesome though.
Let's look at
yeah.
very rock and roll.
And we'll show the back. Like yeah, this is like really 70s vibing. You push it back all the time. Shake it around. I'm gonna still break it up a little more, but see you got that bit of length that's right on your shoulder? Yeah. So I'm just gonna break up this stuff in the back a little more.
Awesome.
And then we're there. And there's also that movie in the 90s called Dazed and Confused, which takes place in the 70s.
Yeah.
You totally look like you could be in that cast. Yeah. I'm so obsessed with that movie. And when it first came out, it was like the biggest box office flop ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it completely flopped at the box office. Like, I think it was like in the theaters, nobody went to see it. And it was like, they just dumped it. So it didn't make any money.
Okay.
But then it ended up in the video stores, and that's where it became a hit. Not in the box office, in the video store. Now, there's a few reasons why. Was because, now for all the cast, it was a lot of their first movie ever.
Yeah, okay.
And like Ben Affleck's in it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And it was like one of his early roles, one of his first movies ever. And so there's the director, right, who and the writers, and then the producers. And the producers own the movie. So what happened on the set was there was a rift between the producers, you know, because you're paying for it, right? Yeah. You need to make money.
Yeah.
But it was a time when teen movies were not making money anymore. Right? So they took a chance with this teen movie, but on the set, they kept swearing too much.
Okay.
And Ben Affleck kept saying, I'm not going to say it on the camera, the C suckers. I'm going to get you little C suckers. Yeah. He kept saying that through the whole movie. And that was making the producers so angry because they're like, if you keep saying that, it's going to be restricted.
Yeah.
How can we sell a movie when you have a teen movie, when you have to be 18 to see the movie? Like they were losing it. Like, and at one point, one of the producers grabbed Ben Affleck, put him on the wall, and held him by the neck. If you say that word one more time, you're off the set. Oh, and the director said, "Keep saying the word." So he wouldn't stop doing it. And Matthew McConaughey is the best because he was never casted for the part. Like in that part, he was never meant to be in the movie. Yeah. Now, what happened? The guy who did casting was flying into because it was filmed in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
He flew into Austin, checked into the hotel. You know, you relax and you think, I'll go down to the hotel bar. So he goes down to the hotel bar, has a drink, and this guy comes over and says, well, what are you up to? What are you in town for? So I'm casting a movie. He goes, oh, well, I'm in film school. It's Matthew McConaughey. He goes, you think you got a part in that movie for me? The guy's like, well, I guess there is one part, but yeah, sure. So they have a few drinks together, and Matthew McConaughey never been in a movie yet.
Right. Okay.
He didn't even audition for this, and so the guy is, Matt is a bit of a character, right?
Yeah.
So the guy says, all right, come down to the set, and we'll see what we can do. So they give him the part, like, he's the older guy hanging around the high school kids, and he's got the hot rod and whatnot, but he didn't have a line.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he says to the director, he says, man, I feel like my character would say, the thing about the high school chicks is I keep getting older, they keep staying the same age. So I said that to the director, like I feel like my character would say that. The director said, you know what, I think you're right. So he actually created his own lines for this movie that he wasn't supposed to be in. So now you watch Matthew McConaughey movie, those were all, he kept going into harassing him, but I think I should say this,
yeah,
I think I should say it. It's like, cool, go ahead and say it. And so it ended up in the movie. Now his character is so iconic in that movie, but it was never a character in the movie in the first place. It's just him in a Holiday Inn hotel bar.
Yeah.
Hey man, what are you in town for? Oh, I'm making a movie. Oh, you think I could be in this movie? How cool is Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, he's wicked, eh?
Oh, I know. And in the movie, he's got the mustache and the cheesy hair. Like, that's the coolest haircut ever. And then he's cruising around like, hey man, all the lines and everything. So he ended up with a pretty big part, and he wasn't supposed to be in the movie.
That's crazy how
I love that. I first came across it when I was still in high school. Well, probably like 18, so a teenager. In the video store. That's as everyone else did. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? And you saw, what's her name on the cover, the French actress and supermodel that was later on in Resident Evil movies.
Oh,
can't think of her name at the moment.
Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, because she was on the cover. She's got the really long hair, and there's the one shot where she's trying to light a cigarette. But she had no lines in the movie because her French accent was so bad. So when you're watching the movie, she's always hanging out. She's always just like chilling and stuff.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really have a line. Because she's French accent, right? Her French accent. And these were playing, this is Texas, right?
Yeah.
So you try to get the girl from, she looked like she's from the 70s. She's real pretty. But, yeah, she didn't really have any lines in the movie. And Parker Posey, of course, is amazing.
Yeah.
Love her. And, yeah, that movie's awesome. Every so often I'll go back and watch it again. But we do haircuts like this, it's like, oh yeah. It's amazing, like, haircuts like this should remind me of the 70s, but haircuts like this remind me of that movie instead of the 70s. Even though I was alive in the 70s, I was born in 71.
Okay.
Yeah. So by 70s, 78, 79, 80. Like that's, my grandmother had a hair salon, so I was hanging around there from 5 years old, so that would have been 76. So I would have been seeing the haircuts and the fashions at the time, and I was her age. Well, she's older, she's 8, but yeah, I was her age when I was hanging around California in my grandma's hair salon in the late 70s, early 80s, around 1980. She hangs around now, and this sticks in her as she gets older, and see what happens, how much it sticks. I always say, go to university, go be something else. But yeah, I think Dazed and Confused became my favorite teen movie of all time. Because it's the most realistic.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Yeah, and teen movies, modern teen movies are just so over the top cheesy.
I can't stand it. I can't do it.
Some of the stuff is good, but some of the stuff is just not believable.
No, they get themselves into these very unrealistic circumstances, and it's like,
yeah. And also because Dazed and Confused was in the early 90s, so they were going for the authenticity. Teen movies in the 80s was always, let's cast someone 35 years old to play a teenager.
Yes.
Or 30 years old to play a teenager. And then they all, and it was all about the ward, they had amazing wardrobes and things like that. So that would be like Breakfast Club and 16 Candles and all that stuff. Pretty in Pink. half those teenage movies, those guys were like 30.
Yeah, it's strange watching that when you're an actual teenager and you're like,
Yeah.
should I be looking like that?
But to be honest, having been in high school in the 80s, kids in high school in the 80s looked 10 years older than a high school kid.
Really?
But then what happened the generation after that, kids looked like teenagers. But when I was in high school, kids had mustaches and kids had like this kind of haircut. We were allowed to smoke cigarettes on school property. We had a smoking section.
Okay.
There was at 314. So we legit looked older. But do you know the main reason why we looked older in high school?
Why?
Was because getting into a bar, they weren't as strict.
Right.
So if you're 17 and you look older, you had a very good chance of getting into a bar.
Okay.
So everybody just looked older.
Okay.
Then when the IDing became so strict that if you look even remotely under 25, they want to see your ID. So if you're 17, what's the point in trying to look older? There's no benefit to it.
Yeah.
But that was our primary reason. Like by the time I was 17, I had like a bit of a beard, I had long hair, ponytail. I looked 24 or 23.
Okay.
But my reason was so, and I used to go to, because we had the beer store, Fridays I'd go to the beer store after school.
Yeah.
And I was a regular there, but I'm only 17.
Okay.
And our drinking age at the time was 19, so I was 2 years young. And I used to go, because I had long hair back in a ponytail, and make the same jokes all the time. Because the same guy, you get your beer, you go up there, and he says, how's your day? I go, oh, another day, another dollar. So I was just acting like, like I'm not a high school kid. He's like, oh, have a good one. See you next week. And then, the next week the girls are like, can we get some coolers? I'm like, oh. So you go up there, you got your case of beer and your coolers. Yeah. And then the guy, Jackson, he goes, oh, I have to pick up some coolers for the old lady. He's like, oh, yeah, you better not forget those. So after years of that, and then what happens on my 19th birthday, you go in there. He's like, what are you up to this weekend? He's like, oh, it's my birthday. He goes, oh, how old are you now? I said, oh, I just turned 19. He goes, ha, that's funny. Because he thinks I'm just making another joke, right? But I'm not kidding. I've been going there for 2 years. Now the day I turned 19, I'm like, oh, it's my birthday today. I just turned 19. He thinks I'm just making another joke, right?
Yeah.
But that's what it was like. If you looked a bit older, you got away with a lot.
Okay. Oh.
But then by the time the 90s rolled around, then they got the rules. The IDing became a thing and all those things. So the next generation, I'd say by the mid-90s, those kids were like, well, there's no point in looking older. But I would say like more towards the late 90s, because the movie Clueless was like 1995, and those kids in that movie were still like fashion model looking, right? Like there was that era. Then it got to the point with the emu and all that other stuff, because by that time that generation rolled around, there was no point in trying to look older anymore. Yeah. So they just, and also like now kids are, I think it's good a 16-year-old is acting like a 16-year-old. Or a 17-year-old acting like a 17-year-old. Because when I was 16, 17, we were acting like we were 25. So I think it's actually better.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Yeah. This is pretty awesome. So for styling, just that. Okay. Constantly that. Shake it. Yeah, you look like you're from...
Oh, I feel like a rock star.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, I put you on stage with a bass guitar. Look at that. Hit that one, twist that in there. Yeah. Look at that. Holy crap.
This is amazing.
That's so fun, eh?
It is so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All that weight's just gone.
Yep, I'll spin the chair. That is fun. A lot of people are like, oh my God, that's my old hair. They want their old hair back. Yeah. I'm going to take a little bit more out of that corner because I'm just trying. I did before when the machine was on. I'm like, I'll go in there and take a little more. It's just one of those things. When you pull it forward, it looks like it's. But just bring it on that over there. And that's all it needs. You take a step back and look. And this side is the same. It's all that stuff. It's the stuff that's coming in from there. Yeah. It just ends up being in a weird spot. But that's a normal thing. Cool. That stuff starts to pop out when it's on dry out. Come on over, let's take some after shots of you. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think from the ombre, from the modern terrorist to like 1978. Yeah. Friggin' awesome. One more. And that size to come here, yeah. Always that, all the time. Do a little more. Yeah, go around that way. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, go back. Sweet. Leave comments below. Let us know what you think, and you'll be back for color.
Absolutely.
You're always welcome back on the channel again, because I know you've done this before. You've done major changes with me.
Yeah.
Always let me know beforehand, and we can go on the channel, and then you just do that way from now on. Cool. Good to see you again. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Bye, tubers.